The moment she screamed, "Get that kid away from me," the entire cabin went quiet. Not awkward quiet. Not polite quiet. The kind of silence where you can feel every eye snap toward you at once like the air itself just froze. I remember thinking, wow, so this is really happening. 30,000 feet in the air, first class, and somehow I was the problem. Let me back up. That morning started like any other trip I'd taken alone, except this one mattered. I was 13, flying cross-country for something that had taken me years to earn. I stood in line at the gate wearing an oversized hoodie and beat-up sneakers, holding a backpack that looked way too full for a kid my size. Inside it were notes, documents, and a notebook I'd rewritten 3 times because my handwriting still embarrassed me. I wasn't nervous about flying. I was nervous about being seen. When the gate agent scanned my boarding pass, her eyebrows went up. First class. She looked at me, then at the screen, then back at me. "Sweetie, are you traveling with an adult?" I shook my head and handed her my paperwork. Everything checked out. She hesitated, then waved me through, still watching me like I might vanish or steal something on the way down the jet bridge. First class smelled like coffee and leather. 8 seats, soft lighting, people who looked like they belonged there. I found my window seat and pulled out my notebook, trying to make myself small, invisible. That's when she showed up. She swept in late, talking loudly on her phone, expensive bag over one shoulder, a baby screaming in her arms. The kind of person who expects the world to rearrange itself around her schedule. When she reached my row and realized she'd be sitting next to me, she stopped dead. She stared, not curious, not confused, disgusted. "There is no way," she said loud enough for everyone to hear. "There is absolutely no way that child belongs here." I looked up, already feeling that familiar burn in my chest. "Ma'am, this is my seat," I said quietly. She laughed. Not amused laughter. Sharp laughter. "Oh, please, don't insult my intelligence. First class doesn't seat unaccompanied kids like you. Like you." She waved down the flight attendant, introduced herself with her full name and title, and demanded it be fixed. The attendant checked my ticket twice, then nodded. Everything was valid. Paid in full. Authorized. That only made her angrier. She looked around for backup, and she found it. A man in the front row nodded along. An older woman clutched her purse tighter. Nobody said anything, but I could feel what they were thinking. Someone made a mistake, and that someone was me. She finally dropped into the seat beside me, muttering under her breath about standards, about people taking advantage, about how things weren't like this anymore. She ordered a drink before we'd even finished boarding. Her baby kept crying, and she bounced him impatiently, already irritated with him too. She turned toward me again. "So," she said, "fake, sweet. What's your story? Charity case? Scholarship kid? Some feel-good program to make rich people feel less guilty?" I didn't answer. She scoffed. "Figures." The plane started taxiing. Her baby's cries changed. Not louder, weaker, strained. I noticed immediately. She didn't. She kept talking. About how kids like me didn't understand how the real world worked. About how you earn your place, or you don't get one. About how pretending doesn't make you special. Then the crying stopped. It didn't fade. It stopped. Mid-sound. She didn't notice at first. She was still ranting, still drunk on her own certainty. I looked over and saw it right away. His lips were pale. His breathing was wrong. Fast and shallow, like he was trying to pull air through a straw. I leaned forward. "Ma'am," I said, my voice steady, even though my heart wasn't. "Your baby isn't breathing right." She snapped at me. "Don't tell me about my child." Then she looked down. Her face changed instantly. "What's wrong with him?" she shouted. "Why isn't he crying?" She shook him gently, then harder. No response. That's when I saw the bracelet on his wrist. Medical alert. 3 letters I recognized instantly. A condition I'd spent years studying, years dreaming about fixing because it had already taken someone I loved. "Has he been eating?" I asked. "Did he take his medication today?" She stared at me like I'd spoken another language. "What medication? The nanny handles that." "I don't know." "How long ago did she leave?" 2 days ago. My stomach dropped. "He's in adrenal crisis," I said. "If we don't treat him now, his heart could stop in minutes." The cabin went dead silent. She grabbed my arm, hard. "Help him. Please, do something." The same woman who'd spent 10 minutes telling me I didn't belong was now begging me to save the thing she loved most. My hands started shaking. I knew the protocol. I'd studied it obsessively. But this wasn't a case study. This was real. A real baby. Real stakes. I remembered the voice that taught me everything I knew. Calm. Steady. Trust the work. I asked for the medical kit. The flight attendant hesitated, looking between me and the screaming mother. I didn't wait. I took it. Drew up the medication, calculated the dose twice. Everyone was watching now. The man who'd nodded along earlier. The woman with the purse. The people who hadn't spoken up. I injected it into his thigh, slowly, carefully. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then his breathing eased. Just a little. Paramedics met us back at the gate. They told her later that if we'd waited another 2 minutes, he wouldn't have made it. She couldn't look at me after that. Neither could anyone else. The flight was delayed. People whispered. Someone recorded everything. By the time we landed, the video was everywhere. Millions of views. Headlines screaming about irony and justice and karma. She found me in the terminal mascara-streaked suit, wrinkled power stripped clean away. She said she was sorry. Said she hadn't known. Said fear made her cruel. I told her I didn't need her apology. I needed her to remember this moment the next time she judged someone who didn't look like they belonged. She nodded. I don't know if she meant it. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. That part isn't really the point. Here's what is. If she'd gotten her way, I would have been removed from that seat. Quietly. Politely. And her son would have died. That's how close we were. So let me ask you something. How many people do we dismiss every day because they don't fit the picture in our heads? How many voices do we ignore because they come from the wrong place? How many lives hinge on whether we choose to listen instead of judge? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me if you think she deserved forgiveness or if some lines shouldn't be crossed. Share this if you've ever been underestimated or if you've ever caught yourself underestimating someone else. And remember this the next time you're sure someone doesn't belong where they are. You never know who might save a life.